Did you get a chance to play the Monster Hunter demo yet?
Oh, no, I hate Monster Hunter.
Oh, that's fair. All right, we're live.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, we talked about it on the show yesterday. Steven downloaded it and he doesn't like it because he doesn't like most Monster Hunters. And he's like, well, didn't you download it? I'm like, nope. I've bought almost every Monster Hunter and I've played exactly 40 minutes of each and said, why did I waste my money on this? I don't like this.
It's the same thing with me with a lot of stuff. Point and click adventure games. You got it working again. I always
It looks
think
really
that
dim,
I'm
though.
going to like the point and click adventure games, and then I play it and I'm like, yeah, I just hate this. It's not fun for me. And I think there's like there's a nostalgic thing about it, because when I was a kid, I loved point and click adventure games, or maybe I loved point and click adventure games, or maybe that's all I had, and that was a game, and so that I was playing it. And I don't know which is the real case, but my lizard brain takes over, and they're like, "But you love point and click adventure games, Bill." And then the rational part of me doesn't speak up for some reason, and never says, no, Bill, you don't like point and click adventure games, so let's buy this one and we'll see if we like it. And 20 minutes in, I'm like, this is terrible, I can't figure out this puzzle.
It's like everybody had this kid. Well, most people, not everybody, I guess. Everybody had this kid in their neighborhood that went to their school that had exactly one comic book, and it was a very weird comic book, like Little Dots or some like war story from the 70s or something, like not a normal Marvel one. This is like Harvey Comics or something. And they carried that comic book around all the time, and they're like, I love this. I love this. But they didn't really love it. They just didn't have any other choice. They didn't have any other experience to tell them whether they really liked it or not. And it's the same thing with point of it for you in point and click adventures, or me with Monster Hunter. I guess I maybe at one point I would have liked it, but there's just too much other stuff that says no, you don't like that game.
I wonder if that's the case with this, because this thing I adored
Kung Fu
when I was a kid. I carried this around. This isn't the one that I had when I was a kid, but I carried this around.
So good.
It was my watch, because I didn't have a watch. This is my watch instead. Hence,
well, it says it right in the title.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Right there. It says game and watch. If I can get it to focus. There we go. Game and watch. But I love this thing. But man, like, it is ugly.
It's tough to go back.
And it's not fun to play. Like, if I handed this to my kid, he'd be like, this is stupid. Why would you play this?
I had a dozen of those little game things,
Tiger
game
Electronics
things, all the Tiger ones, and I would get them because they would come out to, like, we had a, what's the name? Woolco, I think, was the name of the store. It before it became Walmart up here. Walmart bought out all the Woolcos, so we'd go to Woolco, and they would have all these things, and you'd stare at them, and it's like, oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, oh, Transformers, oh, GI Joe, this is so good. And then you couldn't afford them because they were like $8.99 or $9.99, and you only got $5 a week allowance, and it's like, oh, I can't afford this. But then it would go on sale for $5, and you'd buy it, and you'd say, this is the best game ever, and then I want another one because these are the best games ever. You can't go back to those. Like, I tried. It is not possible to play. There's no fun to be had with those things.
I will say, when I got this off of eBay, I put the batteries in it. It works. I don't have them in there now because I don't want them to explode in the thing or whatever. But it works, and I played a couple of rounds, and I don't know if it was nostalgia that was leading me down the primrose path with rose-colored glasses, but I really did enjoy it, and I of course freed Donkey Kong at the end, I freed Donkey Kong at the end, because on this you have to work your way up from the bottom screen to the top screen, and then when you get to the top screen, you got these 4 chains that you have to unlock by moving up, down, over and over and over, and then free dear old dad. So there you go. There's a little nostalgia in your morning, everybody.
I had Donkey Kong Jr. for a while. It was my brother's, and he let me borrow it, and I played that thing to death. It was such a good game.
That's a different one than this, right?
Yeah. You have Donkey Kong 2. This was Donkey Kong Jr. And it was so good. And yeah, I played so much of that for like the month or 3 weeks that I borrowed it from my brother, and I wanted one, but they were really expensive back when I was a kid, and there was no way in hell my parents would buy me anything like that. So it was unfortunate. I could always go buy one now, but they're pretty expensive these days.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And people in chat are talking about Tiger Electronics and stuff. I remember the Tiger Electronics. Yeah. I also remember my cousins had this electronic football game, and it was just like red lights. Do you remember those?
Play action football? Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it, but it was just like a set of red lights, and you would push the buttons, and the red lights would move around. And for
it was
us,
great.
That was
you could play 2 players.
that was like the height of technology. But today we have some pretty amazing technology as well with cloud gaming and stuff like that. And I think that it's time that we get into it. You ready to record a thing?
Can you give me 30 seconds so I can clean my glasses?
No. You're going to do
I'm doing it anyway.
All right.
Doing it live. It's funny. I used to have because I have 3 brothers and a sister, and they all left the house by the time I was in like grade 2. Like they were I'm very young compared to my siblings. They're almost like uncles to me and aunts instead of brothers and sisters, because I didn't grow up with them. But I would get the odd hand-me-down thing. So I had that football game. I had a baseball one. I had a bunch of other like electronic things, like Simon, the old like super like 27-pound Simon from when it first came out.
Simon Says, you mean? Yeah,
that old Simon game. But the original one that was like super heavy.
Yeah, it was like this big around, and like you would set it on the floor, and like you would sit in a circle and whack the stupid 4 colors.
Yeah.
I think that sometime later today I might spend a little time watching 80s commercials for toys.
There you go. It's the best. I want to go watch all of the old Army Ants commercials. Those used to be my favorites. Yeah, there was a toy called Army Ants.
I don't remember that.
Commercials. That and was it Battle Beasts? I think it was, that had the little symbols on their chests that was either like fire, air, water, or like,
that's Captain Planet.
Plant. No, it wasn't that. There was a bunch of those old commercials that I just loved. And then you look at commercials now and it's like, oh, stupid commercials, get off my TV. It's so funny.
Yeah.
All right. I'm all ready. My glasses are all cleaned. Let's do it.
All right. Hey everybody, welcome back to Stadiacast. I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. What's going on, Lloyd?
Not much. I'm turning into a mountain man with my huge beard. It is a new year. It's 2021. But I haven't played any games yet, so I think I'm just gonna go live in the forest somewhere, and really take this whole I don't know, Grizzly Adams look to new levels.
I think you're starting to look like that Robert Redford meme where he's just slowly nodding at the camera. Yeah. But you know what? Hey, that's a pretty epic beard. So there you go.
Have to go like this.
Well done. Yes, exactly. Before we get started, we do record this show live on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern over at our YouTube channel. Type in nerdnest.tv to find it. You can also go there by just youtube.com/nerdnest, whichever way makes you happy. If you are here with us live and you want to make absolutely sure that we see your message, you can use the super chat feature that supports the show, and it gives us stuff to talk about at the end of the show, or at the second half of the show, I should say. In addition, you can also click the join button, which directly supports the show. And if you're watching after the fact, if you're not here live, you can also use that applaud feature to support the show. Let's get started. Normally, we start off the show with what have we been playing, but both Lloyd and I this week have been incredibly busy, which is probably why you noticed that there were no videos this week. Like, I posted my Nintendo podcast on Monday, and I fully intended to do stuff on Tuesday or do stuff on Wednesday or do stuff on Thursday or Friday, and none of
Yep.
that happened. None of that
Yep.
happened. Lloyd had a bunch of first looks that he was planning on doing, but we had zero time, and it was
Yep.
just a terrible confluence of events that kept us away from video gaming, really. So we haven't played anything. Like, you haven't played anything.
I played a few hours of Fortnite with my daughter yesterday because did the new weekly challenges thing. So I play Fortnite with her for a few hours every week, maybe a little bit longer. So I did that. I made time for that, but I've had zero time for anything else. It's been pretty terrible gaming wise here.
Yeah, the only thing that I played was El Hijo for.
Oh, nice.
It wasn't even an hour before I, of course, got stuck because I'm bad at stuff. I was like, I can't figure out what to do here, and so I was like, I'm bored, I'm shutting it off. And it's not the game's fault, it's because I'm not smart enough to figure something out. So I shut it off, and I said I'm gonna do something else instead. And that's the extent of my gameplay this week, but that's okay. Last week was a really, really long episode because we didn't get to the main topic until like halfway into the show because we had so much stuff to say. So I promise we're not going to go that long today. We'll get to the main topic pretty quickly, but I did want to real quick just remind people of some upcoming games that are coming to Stadia. I don't want to say soon, but soon-ish. So we've got Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, which coming on January 14th. I know you're really hyped for that. January 20th January 20th is Hitman 3. January 29th is God's Will Fall. And then Riders Republic is coming out February 25th. Of all of those, I think I'm most excited for Riders Republic, and I know that you are most excited for Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, because you played that game a bunch and really, really liked it.
Loved it. I was looking at a Limited Run Games is doing 3 physical releases for this game. It's just, you can just buy the game on like Switch or PS4 or whatever you want, or you can buy one that comes with a collector's box and some extra stuff, or you can buy this thing that comes in like a huge, it almost looks like a turntable hard case, like if you've ever seen a DJ walking with like 2 turntables in one of those hard cases,
like a big record shape of a thick metal box.
So it looks like it's, I don't know, a couple. It looks fairly large, and when you open it up, it's like a diorama from the game with like the band playing, and it has spotlights in the lid that shine down on all the characters.
That's cool.
And I'm like, oh my god, I want that so bad. It's $160 US for that set, so I will not be getting that. I love the game. I don't love it $160 US, but man, I'm really, really excited about Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. All right, so our main topic today that we wanted to talk about, I foolishly thought, well, maybe we can fit it in last week too, and that didn't happen, of course, but was kind of a recap of 2020, especially since there's not a lot of Stadia news happening right now. Our main topic for today is what were our favorite pro games for each month on Google Stadia from 2020. Now, because this is our first year, we're going to also include 2019. We have 2 months in there to talk about. But what we figured we could do is we would go month by month, and we'll say these are the pro games that we, as pro subscribers, that were received each month. And then we would talk about which ones are our favorite. And if you're here with us live in chat, you can let us know for each month which game is your favorite of the list. And if you're watching this after the fact, of course, leave messages down below to tell us what are your favorite pro games for each month that we have had Stadia so far. So let's get started with November of 2019. We had 2 pro games. We had Destiny 2, The Collection, and Samurai Showdown. So of those two games, I'm pretty sure I know where we're going to land on this one. But of those two games, which one was your favorite, Lloyd?
Well, my first experience on Stadia was Destiny 2. I was sitting in a conference in I want to say Florida somewhere,
That's
or
right,
maybe
I
it was
remember.
California. It was somewhere. I can't remember exactly where I was. I was on really, really, really bad conference Wi-Fi using a VPN to get to the actual internet, because there were some things that were a little bit blocked, and I played Destiny 2. In the worst possible conditions, and it was still damn awesome. So yeah, from November 2019, yeah, Destiny 2, it by far, no, it's not even it's not even close. Samurai Showdown is a fantastic game, but Destiny 2 was just such an amazing experience to be able to play all of that on the cloud, on a laptop, in a hotel Wi-Fi environment, which shouldn't have anything playable. It was a pretty amazing experience.
So for me, obviously it's Destiny 2. I'm not a big fan of complicated fighting games like Samurai Showdown. I will say that if you like those kind of games, Samurai Showdown feels like it's a very good example of those. But for me, Destiny 2, hands down, is the better of the two. I still remember, and obviously we can't do this for each one, but I still remember I was live streaming. It was the day of Stadia release. I was live streaming. We were just talking about
Yep.
stuff, and I still didn't, because if you go back to the beginning, what people probably have already forgotten is that we didn't have everybody couldn't just play. You had to wait until you got your code, and
Yep.
so I was sitting there on a live stream, and I believe that you sent me a message like, Bill,
I,
check your email or something like that. I can't
I
remember.
was also in the conference in a different session, because you got your code after I got my code, and I'm like, Bill, check your email. Bill, check your DMs. Bill. Like, I'm trying to get your attention, and you're like, oh, what? Oh, something's happening here. And I went back and I watched that again, and it made me laugh, because you're just like, oh, what? I'm getting a video. I'm getting what? What's happening? And then you punch in, and it's like, oh my god, this is great. And then yeah, you did the stream, and it was pretty darn fantastic. I think you may have been one of the first people to stream Stadia on YouTube. There was other people before you, but you were right there with some of the earlier ones, and that was a pretty amazing day. And it was sad to me that I wasn't home and able to experience it there, that I had to be in really bad hotel Wi-Fi to go through all that stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely rough. So let's move on to December.
Mhm.
December, we had one game, I believe,
Yep.
if I'm reading this right. Yeah, December we had two games. We
Two
had
games. Yep.
Farming Simulator 19 Platinum Edition, and then Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Now, the thing that I remember about this, wasn't there some kind of problem with Farming Simulator 19? Like they had given us the non-platinum edition, but they had told us that it was going to be platinum edition.
Yeah, so that no, they had told us it was going to be the standard edition, and then on the first day or first couple days, it was the platinum edition that was available for everybody to claim, and then the standard edition was removed from their list, and they just gave everybody the platinum edition, if I
Oh,
remember
okay.
correctly. I think that's what it was. They didn't want to give us the full version, but then they screwed up, or someone screwed up, and then we all got the full version.
So, I mean, I played Farming Simulator 19 for all of, I don't know,
That's what it
30
was.
minutes or something, and I just did not have fun. I can see how people could look at this and be like, this is incredibly relaxing, and, throw on a TV show or a podcast or a YouTube channel, nerdnest.tv, and sit there and play a game. But for me, it is not fun at all. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, though, I love the Tomb Raider games. So
Mhm.
I was, that's my favorite of the two. What about you?
Yeah, Tomb Raider, what an amazing title, and be able to play it immediately in the cloud without waiting for downloads just kind of blew me away. People in the chat room are saying that they advertised the original version, but they put the screenshot for the platinum edition, so people complained. Maybe that's what
Oh,
it was. I can't remember what I had for breakfast like 35 minutes ago, so remembering a whole year ago and a bit is tough for me. But yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah. But then there was another controversy with Tomb Raider, because people had purchased Tomb Raider, like,
Right. It
what
went
was
on
it, November 18th, that the system that Stadia came out.
Yeah.
And so within 12 days later, some people were getting Tomb Raider for free, and the people who had just bought it were like, what the hell, man? So they ended up like refunding, or granting refunds or something like that. Man,
Yeah, I
I
think it
hope
was on
we don't
sale
come up
for
with a controversy every month, but we might.
no.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I think it went on sale for like $12 or something crazy. So many people picked it up because it was on a ridiculous sale. And then less than a week after that sale went up, it's like, oh, it's gonna be the pro game for December. So yeah, people were kind of flipping out a little bit. Which is kind of understandable. Anything past a week, I don't understand that, but after about a week,
Yeah.
I understand that why people would be upset.
All right, so the next now we're into 2020, the year that everything went off the wheels. We had 2 games in January of 2020: Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration and Thumper. For you, which one is the one that you either played more or enjoyed more?
The one that I loved, not loved, the one that I appreciated more was Thumper. As good as Rise of the Tomb Raider is, because I was still concerned that like a full rhythm game, that there'd be latency issues, and having Thumper and finally able to try it and play it basically told me that worry is unfounded. There's no reason why a good rhythm action game like Thumper wouldn't work on Stadia. So for me, it was just more of an eye-opening moment.
I'm not going to say I'm agreeing with you, because I have different reasons. Playing a first-person shooter like Destiny, that was all I needed to understand that the latency wasn't really that big of a deal. So I was cured of that already at that point. I didn't play the Rise of the Tomb Raider at all, not because I'm not interested in it, but I haven't finished. I want to finish, and I don't finish. So I want to finish the first Tomb Raider before I play the next one.
Sure.
So I ended up playing a lot of Thumper. That's not a game that I ever would have thought to purchase. And so when I was when I got it for free, I was like, all right, well, free. I thought I'm definitely gonna try this out, and I was really, really impressed both by the music and the artistry of playing Thumper. It's such a weird game, and such it's funny. I don't know, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, my son was playing Thumper down in the living room on Stadia, and I hadn't thought about it in forever, and my niece has obviously never seen it, and we're all just sitting down there and watching him play, and next thing I know, both of us were like, all right, give me a turn. I want to see if I can figure this out or whatever.
Right.
It's such a good game, and it's really fun to watch somebody play as well. Thumper is a very, very interesting game.
Yep, it is good. If you get a chance to play it in VR, you have to try that at least once. It is a completely different experience in VR when every sense of your body is in the video game. It's ridiculous. It's fun on Stadia, don't get me wrong, but playing it on VR is just a whole other experience.
All right, February. We had 2 games that came out, Guilt and Metro Exodus. Which of these 2 is the one for you?
Guilt. It was a completely new title. I had no idea what it was going to be about, and I absolutely love Guilt. I haven't finished it though. I think I was like more than halfway through the game, and I never got back to it. I'm going to have to fix that because it's one of the games that I do want to see through to the end. So for me, it's Guilt.
I played both of these extensively. Metro Exodus is a really, really good game, but in my opinion, I don't know if I want to say that it's a better game. It's just a game that I like more. For me, and this is our list. It's not we're saying that they're better games. It's just the ones that we enjoyed the most. Is definitely Guilt. I adore that game. It is awesome, absolutely awesome. I know that it's really short, and I know that it's it's a horror game without being gross, which is always something that appeals to me quite a bit because I don't like gross, but I do like the feeling of being scared. I really love the creature design in the game,
Yeah.
especially when you get to the later parts of the game and you start to run into the dolls and stuff. That game is really, really awesome, and I highly recommend it to anybody. It's also pretty easy to play. Like you end up finding like the health pack in the game is
Yeah.
inhalers, and you end up just not really needing them all that much, which might make it seem like, well, why even bother? It's just because it's a fun experience. It's a fun
Yeah.
stealthy experience, and I'm a huge fan of Guilt. Everybody should play it. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's still available for pro or not, but if it's not, you should pick it up.
I think it went out of pro this month, so you
Oh,
had
okay.
until the
Well,
end
that's
of
a long
December to get
time.
it. Yeah, so it was there for almost a whole entire year. Yeah, the sound design and everything in the game was just, it was so good, and it unfortunately got replaced by other games that I had to play, and I never got back to it, so I'm gonna have to get on that.
All right, moving on to March. We had three games in March. We had Grid, SteamWorld Dig 2, SteamWorld Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh. This is I for the most part so far, I've easily been able to predict what Lloyd is going to say. At this point, I have no idea. I'm going to go first this time.
Okay.
I played Grid. I can see objectively that it is a very, very good racing game. I
Hmm.
can't stand this kind of racing game because I suck at it, and I just can't, as the kids say, get good. So that one's definitely out for me.
Hmm.
Between SteamWorld Dig 2 and SteamWorld Quest Hand of Gilgamesh, for me it has to be SteamWorld Dig 2. I love that game. Plus, it's a Metroidvania, which
Yep.
is a genre I like a lot more than the turn-based RPGs. So I absolutely love SteamWorld Dig 2. I didn't actually play it on Stadia. I had already played it and finished it. Both of these games, I had already played them before they came to Stadia. So I ended up not playing them on Stadia other than to load them up and see how they worked. But I really, really like SteamWorld Dig 2. And I'm gonna guess that Lloyd is not gonna say Grid, but which of those other two is your game?
Um, for me, I was trying to look in my game of the year lists that I've been making for years and years and years to see where this game fell. I remember it being high up on my list the year that it came out, and that is SteamWorld Quest: Hand of Gilgamesh. It is an amazing role-playing game set in the SteamWorld universe, which I loved. Dig and Dig 2 have been just a fun experience, but this was a completely different thing. It's a card-based battler. You can build your hand however you see fit. There's, I think, 7 characters, 3 in your parties, or no, there isn't 7. Well, one of them is a pair, so I guess that only counts as one. I guess there's 5 or 6, whatever. So you can only have certain people in your party, and you're making decisions based on the number of cards that you have, the unlocks that you've done, and the characters that you have. Just an amazing game, and if you haven't played it, for me, I think this is my favorite SteamWorld game. All of them are good, but I think this one would be my favorite of SteamWorld, and also my favorite for March of 2020.
I feel like that game has a ridiculous amount of customization. Like you can end up finishing the game, and I could end up finishing the game and using wildly different strategies, which is
Yep,
always a really good thing to have when it comes to a video game. All right,
for
well, that
sure.
that was March. Now it's April. So Stadia said, "All right, at the very beginning, they were like, we're going to give you maybe a game a month." And a lot of us
Mhm.
were like, well, okay, does that mean maybe we'll get a game each month, or maybe we'll only have one game? Like, what does that mean? And so for the first couple of months, it was 2 or 3 games. But then we get to April, and they dropped 4 games on us. And this is
Yeah.
where it starts to go off the rails as far as how many games we're getting each month. So uh, the 4 games that we got in April of 2020 was PUBG, Serious Sam Collection, Spitlings, and Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. Which of these
Yeah.
games was your favorite of April 2020 for the pro games, Lloyd?
For me, Spitlings. I had already bought it prior to April 2020 to play and cover. But for me, that is my favorite game of those 4. It's such a fun party game. It's one of those party games where you work together as a team really well at the start, and then things get a little bit crazy, and then you end up accidentally killing each other, and then you end up like on purpose killing each other because that gets to be fun. I can remember playing it with you, Bill, online, and just the little ghosts that are left by when you die, like the little imprints. There must have been about 100 of them in one specific area because we are trying to get past that level. Such a good game, and I don't think it got I don't know. I don't think it got the respect that it should have, or the hype that it should have, I guess would be a better way, because it is a really, really good game to play multiplayer.
It is, and it's a game that's both good in couch co-op as well as online. I played mostly online. I love the design of all of the little characters. Like you can be like a little train or a piano or a telephone, and then you are spitting what I guess are teeth up at these weird bubbles. It's such a weird game, but it's also my favorite of April. Spitlings is really, really good. I did play a bunch of Serious Sam Collection because I had never played any of the Serious Sam games before, but it didn't hold my attention for very long. Stacks on Stacks on Stacks is not the kind of game that would appeal to me. I tried it a little bit and I was like, it's fine, but no thanks. And then PUBG, I actively dislike. So it has to be Spitlings for me. Let's move on to May. We had 3 wait, what's going on here? 3 games in May: The Turing Test, SteamWorld Heist, and Zombie Army 4 Dead War. So of these 3 games, which one was your favorite, Lloyd?
For me, it's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with Turing Test. I played that whole game, recorded it, put it up as individual videos. It is equal parts Portal and other kind of adventure puzzle games, but it gave me such a good Portal feel, and I loved it. The Turing Test is a fantastic game, and it's nice and short. You can get through it in a number of hours, which is good to have some of those in your life instead of all these 100-hour epic games.
Yeah, I played it a little bit, not very much. I should get back to it, especially if it's a short game. I'm always complaining that games are too long, so jumping in on the Turing Test seems like something that would be good for me. The one that I played probably the most was SteamWorld Heist. If you haven't played that one, again,
so good.
The SteamWorld team, they do amazing stuff where, they take a genre and they completely turn it on its head. SteamWorld Heist is a 2D, not side scrolling, but like it's a 2D turn-based strategy game. Think like XCOM or Mario plus Rabbids or that kind of thing. It's really, really fun. And of course, it's got the humor of the SteamWorld universe. So there's that as well. All right.
Yep.
June 2020. We had a lot.
Big month.
Very big
month.
Very big month. We had Get Packed, Little Nightmares, Panzer Dragoon Remake, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, Super Hot. Is that everything? Yes, that's everything. So
ESO as well.
Oh, ESO as well. Yes, thank you very much. The way that this is laid out is tough. So I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to let you go ahead and say it. Which one is it?
Little Nightmares. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it has to be ESO. It's what brought me into playing Elder Scrolls Online. I had played it first on the PlayStation, and it just didn't click for whatever reason. That was pre all the changes that they've made to make it more of a free to play, but it's not really, but it kind of is because of all the additional things that you add on top of your account. I got into it really big. Like I played it every single day up until like near the end of December. It was a game that I was just absolutely addicted to. I've since not played because I haven't played any games. But that would have to be my pick for June. It was a good game. I kind of wish it wasn't there because it's taken so much of my life over the last 6 months. Just kidding. ESO is such a fantastic game, so that's my pick.
I'm so torn because I had played Elder Scrolls Online a million times before it came to Stadia. I was really hyped when it came to Stadia. It is my most played game on Stadia. So I feel like I have to say that that's my favorite one that month. But like that month, I played a lot of games. I had a ton of fun playing Super Hot. That game completely
so good.
blew me away, and I kept looking at it as it came out, and I was like, oh man, Super Hot looks cool, but I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna play it. And then eventually I got it for free on Stadia, and I was like, oh, wow, what a masterpiece. And I played that game from beginning to end, and it's a short game, but I really, really enjoyed it. But and look, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, it's Mortal Kombat without the gore. So I think that's a really impressive game too, although the graphics aren't very good. But I have to go with Elder Scrolls Online. Elder Scrolls Online completely possessed me over the summer, and I'm glad that I stopped playing it, because it's a very obsessive kind of game. But that won't stop me from playing it again at some point in the future.
Yeah, it was such a good month. I think the only game that I didn't enjoy, other than Little Nightmares, which I hadn't played yet, because we were going to do a stream and it never happened. I was super hyped for Panzer Dragoon Remake, and that was just such a terrible remake. It was disappointing to me as someone that enjoyed the original. I know a lot of people love it, and that's great. Good on you for enjoying it. But it was a bit of a disappointment for me. Not that it was included as pro, but just as a game. So I know they've put a bunch of patches into it. They've patched it up a couple times to fix some of those issues. So I may have to give it another go to see if maybe they fix some of those little rough edges that were giving me problems.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Little Nightmares, and I ran into the same problem that I think in the pre-show, or maybe it was in the intro, where I was talking about with El Hijo, where I got stuck and couldn't figure out what to do. And it's the same thing that always happens to me in those kind of games, and that's exactly what happened in Little Nightmares, which maybe is really awesome, but I didn't get very far because I got stuck and couldn't figure out what to do. All right, let's move on to July. July had Crata Premium Edition, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, Orcs Must Die 3, SteamWorld Dig, which weird that they launched those games out of order, and then West of Loathing. So of those games, which one was the one that you liked the most, Lloyd?
They are all equally as awesome, and I don't want to pick my favorite child.
Well, too bad.
But I have to.
That's the game.
Orcs Must Die 3 is the one that I would have to choose, because I hadn't played Orcs Must Die for many, 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 many years, and it was pretty darn cool to play some of those the big battlefield battles where there's hundreds upon hundreds of orcs streaming towards you, and no hiccups, no slowdown, no problems, no crashing. It was pretty awesome. With a hat tip towards Crata, because what Crata was trying to do was pretty mind-blowing, and they did a pretty good job right out of the gate, and they keep making that game better as well.
Yeah, Crata I had higher hopes for. And it's not that it's bad. I just feel like it's too intimidating to the average person.
Right.
Not for playing, but for creating, which is, one of the things about it that I thought was so cool is how the tools that they give you are really, really impressive. And if you are already somebody who knows what you're doing with that stuff, you can create some amazing things. But if you are, Bill, then you're going to I spent hours trying to figure out how stuff worked, and I just couldn't put two and two together in order to figure it out, because I'm not a programmer. I know a little bit of Python, and that's pretty much, and a little bit of Swift, and that's pretty much it. And I just felt like there weren't enough training wheels for Crata, and I think that game has serious potential if they can build in some more training wheels for people. For me, Orcs Must Die 3 is a absolutely fantastic game, and it's going to be my favorite of July. I'm surprised that you didn't go with Monster Boy, because I know how much you liked that game, but Orcs Must Die 3 for me was fantastic. What an absolutely awesome game. I played almost all the way through to the end, and then they ended up patching it, and all of the strategies that I had learned basically didn't work anymore. So I had to start from scratch, and I was just like, well, I mean, I didn't have to start from scratch. I had to learn from scratch, new strategies to kill the orcs. And at that point, other things were distracting me, so I didn't get back to it. Exactly. But it's a really good game, and that's my favorite game for that month.
Nice.
All right, what month are we on?
August.
August got Just Shapes and Beats, Kona, Metro 2033 Deluxe, Rock of Ages 3, and Strange Brigade. All right, Lloyd, I'll let you go first. What do you think, man? Which one's your favorite?
This is a tough one. The game that I played the most, I would say Just Shapes and Beats. The game that I think I enjoyed more was Strange Brigade, but I didn't get into it very far. I'm going to go with Just Shapes and Beats because it is a fantastic pick up and play game that anybody can play. You might not be able to get very far, but you can play at least the opening levels. The music, the whole experience is just fantastic. So that's my choice for August 2020.
Just Shapes and Beats I thought was really, really cool. I did not like playing it multiplayer because my brain couldn't handle one other thing on the screen at the same time. My son and I tried to play it together, and I just kept watching his little icon move around instead of mine, and then I would get killed over and over and over again. I didn't bother to play Metro 2033 Redux. I didn't play Rock of Ages 3. So for me, it comes down to Strange Brigade and Kona. I think I probably put more time into Kona. I really like the theme for Strange Brigade, but I wanted to play that with other people, and I never got around to it. Kona has a ridiculously intriguing theme. Like, it's a murder mystery that takes place in Canada in the wintertime in the 70s. And as a guy who lives in northern New York, like, there's a lot there that feels very familiar to me, like driving a truck on a rural dirt road in a snowstorm was really cool. And I like the puzzly aspect to it. I didn't finish it, but I'm going to say Kona was my favorite of that month. Let's move on to September, which was pretty crazy.
Huge.
We had a bunch of games come in. So there was Ember, which is an early access, and it's still in early access. Gunsport, which I feel like criminally got ignored by almost everybody. Hello Neighbor, Hitman, Metro Last Light. I think now we have all of the Metro games, and Super Bomberman are online.
Yep.
Go ahead.
For me, it has to be Super Bomberman R Online. I love Super Bomberman. I used to play it for hours and hours on the NES and Super NES. And I bought multiple copies of the Super NES version because I wanted the Famicom and the North American version of Super Bomberman 2. What a fantastic franchise. And then it came out for Switch, and it was better than ever. And then it came out on Stadia, and you could play online with other people and get blown up in 3 seconds by people that are Bomberman gods. That's probably one of the games that I've played the most number of times on Stadia, because I keep popping in for a couple quick matches and then continue with my day or go into other things. Bomberman is by far my favorite of those 6.
Yeah, same here. I love Super Bomberman R Online. I've put a bunch of hours into that. I haven't gotten any better, but I really do enjoy that game. It's almost a shame that it's in that list because there's some other really good games on here. I wouldn't say I'm interested at all in Hello Neighbor, but Gunsport, I feel like nobody paid any attention to. It's this really weird volleyball style game where you've got 2 players on each side. Each person has a gun, and there's a ball that you have to shoot to get into like these targets on the other person's side. And then on the other side, they have 2 people. And so you're just kind of shooting this ball back and forth. And the more times that it goes back and forth, the more points that it's worth. It's a really, really cool game, but everybody ignored it because Super Bomberman R Online had that 64-player Battle Royale Bomberman thing, and that's really too bad. I know that you really liked Ember as well, and I didn't like it because of the ragdoll physics, but you love that game.
Loved Ember. Ember is still a good game. They keep adding new features and new modes to it. Like, when this game leaves early access and is like officially released, it's going to be probably 7-8 times as big as it was when it first dropped on Stadia. So if you haven't played it yet and you still have access to it through Pro, or you're going to pick it up as early access, it is a fantastic game as well.
All right, moving on to October. We had Celeste, Dead by Daylight, Human Fall Flat, Jotun, Valhalla Edition, Lara Croft Temple of Osiris, and Super Hot Mind Control Delete. That's a whole bunch of games that month. Which one's your favorite, Lloyd?
Ridiculous.
That's a tough one.
It's ridiculous. They're all amazing titles. But for me, the game that blew my mind, a pun intended, was Super Hot Mind Control Delete. Because how do you make Super Hot better? Well, you make it into a roguelite and then you throw it out there for the world to obsess over. So yeah, Super Hot Mind Control Delete was quite the surprise. It was not the game I expected when I started playing it, and I really, really do love it.
So I haven't played Super Hot Mind Control Delete yet, which is ridiculous because I love the original Super Hot. I don't have a good reason for not having played Mind Control Delete yet. I'll get to it eventually. That's what I keep telling myself. The two games that I like that I had played or that I hadn't played before that I really, really was surprised by were Celeste and Dead by Daylight. Celeste is this tough as nails, side-scrolling platformer, really, really high difficulty, but also really rewarding. And I really, really enjoyed that game. And I anticipated hating it because I get frustrated by games that are really, really hard, and I tend to walk away from them fairly quickly. The thing about Celeste that's so awesome, though, is if you die, you lose like 14 seconds of gameplay. So you can try it again really quickly. And the gameplay loop is you die and you're back in the game almost instantaneously, which is a really good thing. And then there's Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight, I don't like gross stuff. So even though it but even though it has that stuff, I really enjoyed playing Dead by Daylight, which really surprised me. The asynchronous gameplay of trying to outwit the either the survivors or the murderer is really, really cool. And I we had some people get together in our Nerd Nest Discord and hang out and play Dead by Daylight together, and it was really, really fun. But for me, my favorite game of that month has got to be my favorite pro game of that month has got to be Celeste. What an absolutely fantastic game.
Yeah. Celeste is really good. And the best part about it is it can be played by anybody. If you're not good at platformers, you turn on all the assists. So you can't die. You have unlimited boost. You can basically make the game as easy as you need it to be to complete it, which is in line with the story, because the game talks about mental health and stuff like that. So I just looked at those boosts as you taking control of your mental health and making your life easier, and that's how you play the game. It is such a good game, but I didn't play it on Stadia. I played it earlier on Switch, so I don't even think I booted it on Stadia since it became part of my library.
There you go. All right, so moving on to November. Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek, which I didn't play at all. Republic, or Republique, I don't know how to say it. Risk of Rain 2, Sniper Elite 4, Sundered Eldritch Edition, and The Gardens Between. I know what game Lloyd is going to say, and I 100% agree with him that it is Risk of Rain 2. Is that the game that you were going to say?
That's what I'm going to say. I love Risk of Rain 2 so much, and being able to play it without having to worry about patches and downloads and which system do I own it on, just booting it up on Stadia and getting into multiplayer missions was so good. Like we did multiple streams where we had people joining our multiplayer mission and beating bosses and things like that. It is really good. If you folks haven't played Republique, you definitely need to play that game as well. It is a lot of fun. It's kind of like this espionage stealth game, which is different than people think it is going to be. They think it's more of an action adventure game, which it really isn't. It's worth looking into if you haven't already.
Yeah. Moving on to December. Oh my good God, December.
Big month. Huge
month. Yeah. Cthulhu Safes Christmas, which was a hilarious surprise. Everspace, Hitman 2, Into the Breach, Kine, Monster Jam, Steel Titans, Outcasters, Secret Neighbor, Submerged Hidden Depths. Is that everything? Yeah, that's all of them.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. So, of those games, I don't know what you're going to say. I know instantly which one's my favorite, but I don't know which one you're going to say. So, surprise me.
For me, there's a lot of really good games here. Everspace is a lot of fun. It's a space shooter with roguelike elements where you die and you go back and you start and you spend your money and you upgrade your ship. It's a lot of fun. I've played a lot of that game before. I haven't played too much on Switch or on Stadia though. I played mostly on Switch. The game that I played the most out of all of these would have to be Outcasters. I'm not good at Outcasters, so I haven't played it that much, not as much as some of the pros that I see on my Twitter feed. But it is an amazing game. I hope this game gets long legs and it's out there for a long time. I hope eventually it drops to free to play and Google blitzes all of the esports players on YouTube and start some tournaments. Like, here's a $50,000 Outcasters tournament. Let's get all these esports people playing, because I look at all the games that are really big for streaming, and there's no reason why Outcasters couldn't be one of those games. It has a lot of luck and a lot of skill, and those make the best games, where you can get really lucky and get a couple quick points, but then you can be backed into a corner and just use your skill to get out of it. What a fantastic title.
Yeah, I think that Outcasters, if it goes free to play, like I think that it will, then it has a potential of being absolutely huge, because it's such a good game, and they can still monetize with their cosmetics and stuff like that. Because the cosmetics are great. Like, you can dress up as like the abominable snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or a deep sea diver, or like this moon guy or whatever. It's very crazy, the different costumes that you can have, and they can make a lot of money from that, but only if the game is free. As far as my favorite game of that month, it's definitely Outcasters, so I'm not going to go into any more on that. I will say that Hitman 2 surprised me. Surprised me how much I enjoyed the puzzle. It's a puzzle game. It's not a stealth game. I mean, it's also a stealth game, but it is first and foremost a puzzle game, and I really enjoyed being surprised by that. So those are the 2020 pro games. Let us know in the comment section down below, or use the super chats to let us know, or just say things in chat. Which of those games, what are your favorite games for each month? All right, let's move on real quick. I want to talk a little bit, not for very long, but I want to talk a little bit about there's been a lot of people who've been complaining about a video from Digital Foundry about Cyberpunk 2077. And so I sat down and I watched the video to see why everyone was so upset. And I do understand, like, at the beginning of the video, they almost like jumped through hoops to make it not a good experience.
Yeah.
I guess they have really, really bad internet at Digital Foundry, which, I mean, I don't know what I thought, but I guess they have really bad internet. So instead of playing it at their house or at their office, they drove to like a cell phone tower and were playing it that way. And then they were like, well, that didn't work so well. So I found this place with free Wi-Fi. And they kept saying that you needed super fast internet in order to enjoy Stadia, which you don't. You have to have decent internet, but it doesn't have to be ridiculous. But then everything else that I saw in the video seemed fine. I mean, my biggest gripe is that everybody seems to be attacking Digital Foundry for their opinion. And I just don't understand that. And I wish people would just stop doing that.
Yeah, to me, the hate that was going their way was just I've seen a lot of that over the last 4 years in another part of Twitter, where there's a lot of hate from one side of people to the other side of people, and it almost seems like Stadia detractors, but they're not even detractors. They're just giving you what their experience is. They get dogpiled like certain other types of people. Maybe we'll say political types of people, and there's so much hate on Twitter right now. It's gotten a little bit better for some reason over the last little bit, but there still is a lot of hate on Twitter, and I see that, and it just makes me scratch my head. But I gotta say, my complaint about the video is the way that they're playing Stadia on Wi-Fi or driving to a cell tower to get a good connection would be the same as them having a faulty HDMI cable going to
Right.
their TV, and it keeps cutting out. And they're like, "Oh, well, this game is a terrible experience. The HDMI keeps cutting out." It's like, well, you're in control of that experience, and if you're not good, if you're not good, if your internet is not good and you can't plug in to your Chromecast Ultra and play that way, maybe just don't cover it. And when people say, well, you're not covering this one, just say, yeah, we don't have the internet to do it. Just leave it that way. You don't have to attack these people for doing it, but they also maybe should cover it the best way that they can. And the best way to play Stadia isn't sitting in your car with a capture rig hooked up to your phone so you can get on a 3G or a 4G network. That's not the best way to play Stadia. And if you can't do it with Ethernet with at least 100 megabit internet, maybe don't cover it, and then there'll be none of these complaints, because we don't need more hate on Twitter. We don't need attacking people for doing their job and putting content out there. If you don't like it, move on. But also, if you're creating the content, you need to do your due diligence to make sure it's being done the right way.
I will say, like, that's the one weakness that Stadia has, is that your experience and my experience can be very different. Like, you, for the last 6 months or so, you were having all kinds of problems because there was a problem with your modem. And once you got that fixed, suddenly all of your problems on Stadia disappeared. And so that is one of the disadvantages that Stadia has, is that everybody's experience is not the same. And it's kind of hard to diagnose what the problem is sometimes. So I can understand them showing that stuff. My problem is when people are always bringing up, certain, I'm not going to mention them because I don't want to give them extra clicks or anything, but they're always bringing up certain YouTubers or certain Twitter accounts and complaining that these people don't like Stadia. And for me, I'm like, what the hell do you care? My opinion is that I like Stadia and I don't really care what other people think about Stadia. I just care about what I think about Stadia, and I enjoy it. So can't you just enjoy things and move on with your life? And if somebody disagrees with you, then don't subscribe to them or don't watch their videos. Like, there's one particular that I know the Stadia community, they have a nickname for them, and they're always complaining about them. And whenever I see a complaint about them, I ignore it, because guess what? That person is super negative all the time. All of their videos are negative. Their videos are negative about every single thing that they can be negative about. Why? Because they get clicks. But then you guys, the people who get super mad about this stuff, they are the ones clicking on the videos so that they can be mad about this guy being negative. And I'm like, you're making them more successful every time you complain about them. Move on with your life.
I've said my piece already. It is just, it's hard to see people that I recognize from other parts of the internet being super angry and attacking people, and I'm just like, oh, like, that doesn't it. Anyway, I've said too much. I don't want to dwell on that, but it would be good if in the future, if Digital Foundry is going to be doing a Stadia video, that they do wired CCU, and then if the game doesn't perform properly, they've done their due diligence to make it the best possible scenario to have a good experience on Stadia. But as I said, my first experience on Stadia when it was new and not optimized was in hotel Wi-Fi in a conference room through a VPN, and Destiny 2 still performed really, really well. So I don't understand how you could have so many issues with even just slow internet in like different parts of the world, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, let's move on.
All right, moving on to something that I think some people are going to be disappointed in. Outriders is being delayed until April 1st. They posted this, and I didn't set it up ahead of time, so I can't bring it up on screen because I forgot about this. The button in Edge doesn't work the right way, and same thing with Chrome. But they said, Happy New Year. We believe it's important that players get to experience the new IP like Outriders before release. I like that. So you can decide for yourselves whether to play whether the game is something you wish to pre-order, purchase, or play. For this reason, we are excited to announce that on February 25th, 2021, we will be publishing a free demo, giving everyone a chance to play the first few hours of the game with all 4 classes in both single player and co-op, along with seamless migration of your character and progress to the full game. Speaking of which, we've decided to move the release date of Outriders to April 1st, 2021. Then they say it's not a joke. We will be spending this extra time fine-tuning the game and focusing on delivering a fantastic play experience at launch. Thanks for hanging tight a little bit longer. We appreciate your patience, the Outriders team. Okay. I'm excited for this game. I think it looks really cool. I like the whole idea behind it. I really hope that we get a demo on Stadia as well. They didn't like Duncan from Lunacast and
Cloudy Games.
Yeah, thank you. What?
Cloudy with a chance.
Yeah, thank you, Cloudy. I thought you said Cubby, so I was confused. Yeah, yeah, Cloudy with a chance of games. He replied instantly because he's nonstop on Twitter. I don't know how he does it, but he was like demo on Stadia 2, and they didn't reply. What do you think? Do you think we'll get a demo on Stadia as well?
It would be really cool if Google said, "Hey, we'll give you this money this money that's in a bag. You can use it to further develop the game if you give us exclusive rights to a demo on our platform that anybody with a Gmail account can pop in and play for a few hours without any money changing hands." That would be a really great way to do it, just like Immortal did. Immortal was such a good event for Stadia. Having more exclusive demos like that would be a really, really good thing.
Okay, so I agree that it would be cool. I don't want it to be exclusive though. Not just because I want everybody to be able to play I want everybody to be able to play the place that they want to play it. So if you have terrible internet at your house, if you're, like at Digital Foundry where they have terrible internet, they probably want to play it on their Xbox or on their PlayStation or on their PC. I can understand that. Not everybody has good internet. So, I don't want it to be exclusive, but I would absolutely like the idea that you just said where, hey, let's put out a demo and everybody can play it. That would be really cool because then people can play it whether they have the certain box under their TV or not. I think that would be awesome. I'm looking forward to Outriders. There's too many games that have out in their name. It's very, very confusing. I can't keep them all straight.
Yeah, what was it? There was
Outcasters,
I can't remember.
Outriders, and then there's another one that's also coming out, and I can't remember the name of it, but it starts with out, and it's confusing, and it's plural at the end.
On Xbox Game Pass, I was looking for there was a game called what is it? Outer Limits, but I was looking for Outer Worlds, so I downloaded Outer Limits because how many games have outer in the 2 words and out? It starts with outer, and it was the wrong one, and I had to re-download the other one. The good thing on Stadia is if you make a mistake, you hit X and then you hit play on another icon, and you're playing it right away.
That's right,
which is a nice way to do it.
All right, moving on to crowd play. This is the section where we answer all of your super chats, and thank you guys for the support. So let's go ahead and start with that. Let's see. That was yesterday. Okay, here we go. Douglas Fills became a member. Thank you very much for that. Ray Sherrod sent in a super chat with no comment. It looks like it was a super sticker. Thank you very much for that, Douglas. Ray. Stadia Vet Gaming sent in a super chat at $10. Thank you very much for supporting at that level. And they said, "Hello, Nerd Nest. You guys rock." Then we had 3 more with no comments: Consino, Deflem, and Jay Dangle. Thank you very much for the support. We appreciate it. Anthony Talcott sent in a message. He says, with his super chat, he says, "Happy New Year. With Wi-Fi 6 routers coming out, do you think the bandwidth and speed increase justifies upgrading a Wi-Fi 6 router to play Stadia wirelessly?" I'm going to say no, because
it's a good question.
Well, I mean, so I have the Google Wi-Fi, not the Nest Wi-Fi, but the Google Wi-Fi. And is Google Wi-Fi Wi-Fi 6?
I don't believe it supports it yet. They might be able to patch it. I can't remember what if you need different antenna arrays or if it can use current ones. Is there could be a potential. I haven't looked too much into Wi-Fi 6, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I play it on Wi-Fi because when we built this upstairs, our bedroom is across the hall, and up here is my office. And so if I'm playing a game on the TV in there, we didn't think ahead because we thought, wow, we're just gonna watch Netflix. Who cares if we've got Ethernet? So we didn't put Ethernet in that room. We put Ethernet in this room, and so I play on Wi-Fi in that room. I mean, not all the time, but often enough, and it really doesn't have an issue. So I would not spend the extra money on a Wi-Fi 6 router just to get faster speeds for Stadia, because I think you're probably all set with what you currently have. However, if you've got like an old router, you definitely want to upgrade to something new. I'm super happy with the Google Wi-Fi, even though mine's a couple years old.
Yeah, when Wi-Fi 6E comes out, which adds I think it's like 6 gigahertz instead of like the current 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz or whatever it is, that will give you the ability to have faster data with less latency and better coverage. So if you're having issues of your house where your Wi-Fi is dropping out because there's like power lines running through your wall or pipes, there's stuff that is interfering. Having the Wi-Fi 6 will potentially help you solve those issues, but it's not it's not like a utility belt that will get you out of all problems. But faster speeds, less latency, and better coverage is all good things when it comes to Wi-Fi. So it can't hurt. I wouldn't go spend a bunch of money right now, Anthony, just to make sure that it works okay. I would wait until maybe second gen routers start coming out and things are a little bit more solidified, and then look at whatever Google comes out with at that point, because it will be it'll be better if you have a lot of users or if you have a lot of congestion issues or not congestion issues, interference issues in your house. Wi-Fi 6 should hopefully help you with that.
I will say, Lloyd, know your audience. Anthony buys everything, so he'll buy one of these, one of these anyway, whether we say so or not, because that's just what he does. But just so everybody knows, like 2.4 gigahertz is more reliable. Like it can go through walls and stuff better. 5 gigahertz is faster, but can't go through walls. And I guess what like people like Mr. Chip in chat are saying is 6 is going to make a huge difference if you live an apartment with a lot of overlapping stuff. For me, I live in the middle of nowhere. If I threw a rock, I might be able to hit my neighbor's house. If I really threw it hard, like it'd be tough for me to do that. So
right.
I don't have that same problem that a lot of people have. Don't you like live in an apartment and you have a lot of neighbors that have competing Wi-Fi with you, right?
I don't live in an apartment. I live in a house, but I do have a lot of Wi-Fi around, just because everybody has both their 2.4 and 5 gigahertz networks turned on with different SSIDs and all that junk. 6 will beamforming, so that your router knows precisely where you are and they can actually target you in your house in 3D space instead of just broadcasting out to the world. So yeah, 6 is better. But with most new technology, I wait till the second rev comes out before I buy in, just because all the bugs get squashed by that time.
That's true. We also had a super chat come in from SK Gamer. They said, please do a first look for Into the Breach. Well, maybe we will. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have not played that game, and I've been interested in checking it out. Have you played it, Lloyd?
I have on Switch. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I could potentially do a first look, or Bill could. Yeah, that's something we can easily do.
Is it I'm just curious, is it a kind of game that because it looks to me like the kind of game where a mouse pointer, you could just like click on stuff and move things around, or is it all controller all the time?
It's all you probably could use a mouse. I've never done that on Switch. I just used the Joy-Cons to get around it or whatever. So yeah, it's like a Final Fantasy Tactics kind of game. So you have a grid and you're moving your guys on that grid, and it's an isometric view. So pretty easy to make your way around.
Awesome. All right. Well, that does it for our show today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit all of those YouTube buttons. We really do appreciate it. And if you want to listen to the audio version of the podcast, then you can subscribe to it over at, is it nerdnest.tv/Stadiacast?
That's the one.
That's the one. So you can just type that into the URL and you can listen to the show while you do the dishes or shovel the driveway or whatever else that is that you got to do. Thank you guys for hanging out with us while we talked about our favorite pro games of 2020. If you have an idea for a segment that you want us to talk about, head on over to nerdnest.tv/submit and you could submit topics for the show as well. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Kodiak Moonwolf, thank you for reminding me. Go ahead and tell everybody about that, Lloyd.
I was going to say, make sure to go vote for the Nerdy Awards. Kodiak Moonwolf in our Discord, our super mod, mega mod, I think is what you call him, Bill, put together this thing. There was a step of voting what your favorite games were for all the different platforms. And now with all the votes tabulated for everybody's favorite games, now it's vote so you could have one game to rule them all in each of the platforms. So go check it out. Go vote. I believe the voting ends in 2 weeks. I want to say
24th. I think it was a really odd choice that he made, but I was okay with it.
Sunday the 24th. Yeah, so 2 weeks from today at 4 p.m. UK time. I don't even know what that means because time zones are hard. So yeah, go submit and let us know what your games are, and then we can chat about them here on somewhere on the Nerd Nest. We'll talk about all those games.
All right, take it easy, everybody.
Later, everybody.
Awesome. And people in chat are asking, what was the submit link? It's nerdnest.tv/submit. There's a link in the description down below. I should have put a link in the description for the vote thing too, but I didn't think of it. All right. Well, there we go. We did it. We made a show.
We did. That was a good
project one. I don't know how they always end up being right about an hour, although last week's was an hour and a half.
Last week's was a fun show, though.
It was. What was our topic? I know it was a big topic, but we talked forever about it. What was it?
It was the game of the year, top 10 games of the year.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Last week.
All right. Well, anything that you guys want to, anything that you want to talk about before we get out of here, Lloyd?
No. Sorry, I'm just answering a message that came in real quick. No, I don't think so. I really hope that my time frees up this week because I would really love to release a bunch of videos this week. So we'll fingers crossed that that's going to happen. Sammy is asking for Stadiacast updates. We got our new Christmas tree. And we set it up. We ordered it right before Christmas, and it just arrived.
So, okay, I saw Kara tweet that this morning, and I was like, how long do you guys leave your freaking tree up, you weirdos?
It's gone by now normally, but we just bought a new one, and it's one of those things we bought from Costco, and it arrived from FedEx, and the box is huge. It weighs like 90 pounds. It's this crazy huge thing, and we're like, well, we could just put it in the basement, but if it's broken, we're gonna have there's no way that we're gonna be able to get a refund or get it fixed. So we set it up, and we're gonna leave it up for a couple days just to make sure that there's no issues with it, and then we'll take it down probably later today and store it for the year. Although with as crazy as 2020 was, having a Christmas tree up all year might be a good way in case 2021 doesn't get much better.
Well, we decided, my wife and I decided a while back, because we didn't get to see our families over Thanksgiving. We didn't see our families over Christmas. We did FaceTime stuff, and that was it. So we decided once all of the nonsense is over and it's safe for everybody to get together, we're going to have like a Halloween giving miss party. And so we'll have like all of the, I think we'll have, like, I haven't talked to her about this yet, but we'll have all of the Thanksgiving food. We'll exchange presents and maybe have a Christmas tree outside in the yard. And
that's fantastic.
I don't know, maybe we'll dress up in Halloween costumes to try and make it all there. Although I don't know if I want to be in a costume in August.
No, you could hide chocolate Easter eggs around as well, but you have to be really fast because they're going to melt. Yeah. You can do all that stuff. Catch all the missed holidays. Yeah, it's been a weird year.
Mr. Chip is, thank you very much for the information. Yes, I am aware. I have not, I don't have an appointment yet, but as soon as I can, I will. He's talking about vaccines for teachers. So,
yeah. It looks, speaking of vaccines, it looks like I might have to wait till summer up here in Winnipeg to get vaccinated, which is really not good. So we'll see. Hopefully our government can pull their heads out of their what's to get this working a little bit faster.
Will you be able to continue working from home?
It all depends. It all depends what happens with the campus I work on. If they open up to everybody, I'm probably gonna have to be there 5 days a week instead of 2 days a week like I've been doing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna get out of here. You have an awesome day.
Yeah. You too. See everybody. We'll talk to you next Sunday. And Bill, good show as always.
Bye-bye.
Later.